So I had a bit of bad news this week. My mom went back in the hospital. This is actually on Thursday. She basically had a blockage in her ileostomy and started throwing up. So she had to go to the emergency room, which is standard protocol for that. But once she got there, she started going again. They started taking tons of tests, saw that her intestines, which is close to the stoma, the opening in her body, was narrowing. So they chose not to do surgery, which is a great thing. I don't know if my mom will be able to survive another surgery. She's been through a ton of them now. For those who follow that story and sent me, good wishes, I really appreciate it. And, I'll never forget that. But, it makes sense not to do surgery because everything's kind of back to normal. So she was in the emergency room, though, for 6 days. And now they just sent her back home, which was yesterday. So she's very happy. We're all happy about that. But, she does have to monitor anything and just lots of tests. Anyway, I told my mom, listen, the next time you get sick, try to do it when I'm not so busy, right? Me and my mom joke around a lot. But I told her when I'm not planning to bring my company public through Curzio equity owners and token, or when the president of the free world doesn't get infected with COVID, can't get sick around those times. My subscribers need me. But she's really happy to be home. I'm praying it all goes well for her. But, man, she's just the strongest person I know. It's taking 3 shots a day, which she injects herself, tons of pills, liquid food every night, which gets hooked up to the port inside her body, which is, around her shoulder and her neck area. And all of this, and she's the happiest person ever. She's full of energy, so amazing. She's driving, she's just pretty incredible. So I'm hoping everything goes well. And, I guess it just sucks getting old. But, it's pretty cool. But anyway, I was at the hospital she was in, and it's the same one where she was in ICU for 4.5 months, which was last October. And that hospital's located in Jacksonville. So it's about a 40-minute drive for me. And the hospitals right now, I didn't know this. I mean, they're only allowing 1 visitor per day. Only 1. It's kind of interesting. Anyway, so when I visit her, she has a TV in her room. She's the hospital bedroom and everything. And the TVs went out. Right, we're watching, what was it, one of the Chicago Fire or PD, Chicago PD we're watching. An old episode of that. So the TV shuts off, and they said, they had a problem with the satellite. So it came back on, and when it came back on, the first channel it's programmed to is CNN. And she was like, you want me to change this? I said, no, leave it on. And they were talking about Trump since he just got COVID, and I wanted to know what's going on. My head was just thinking about my mom, getting updates or whatever. So my mom and I talking, and we're sitting there watching from a hospital room. And it was in the background for 2 hours. And we started paying attention to it. And I got to tell you, what a piece of garbage. But I try to be politically correct, but I can't anymore when I listen to this shit. Seriously. And I try to be politically correct. Why? Because so many people, they're so goddamn sensitive these days. You can't say anything. Man, growing up in New York, if you knew something bothered them, that's it. You targeted that. Man, I can't tell you how many people made fun of me when I was fat. How many people made fun of me. We all rank at each other's moms. We'll do it's you attacked everything that bothered your best friends, right? That's what you did. Today, forget everyone's sensitive. Everyone's sensitive. Can't believe he said that. I can't believe it. But I can't be politically correct anymore. I can't. I mean, I watch these news organizations. They don't have a soul anymore. I'll tell you, almost everyone on those panels at CNN, remember, okay, this is when this just happened. So this is, I think, Saturday. They were all hoping Trump was going to die. Almost every one of those panels. I mean, it was crazy. They're talking about how he's so irresponsible, not wearing a mask. He deserves this. Even though you have Democrats all over the place not wearing masks. From the governor of Virginia, Ralph Northam, said everyone has to wear a mask indoors and outdoors. He now has COVID. He's been wearing masks. And then you saw him without masks. To Nancy Pelosi not wearing a mask, to Maxine Waters, and calling out someone who went to a Trump rally that died and almost said, you deserve it. She doesn't have a mask on. I mean, just a bunch of hypocrites. If you're telling everyone that Trump's a complete idiot and he didn't wear a mask, he's not wearing a mask enough, you should be wearing a mask every single time you're in public until the election, at least. Until the election. I know plenty of people personally that are in the danger zone. They wear masks all day, even outside, and still got COVID, including my daughter's old principal and his wife, who are great people. Both are okay. Wasn't an easy journey for them. They were in the danger zone. They say danger zone over 70 or people with underlying conditions. They're okay now. And they wear masks all the time. The mask prevent it? Maybe. I mean, yeah, I think so. I mean, I wear a mask every time I go into a store or whatever. But just if you're going to rip someone for not wearing a mask, you better wear a mask all the time. These things, it's hysterical to see these people not wearing masks. But they were tearing Trump apart. And this is before he walked out of Walter Reed, saying the White House is lying. He had COVID before he announced it on, I think it was early Friday or maybe Thursday night. He told his staff, everyone, to keep it quiet. He deserves what he gets. I saw someone suggest that this is all a hoax. He really doesn't have COVID. It's just a scam. Somebody actually said that on a news channel. I mean, yeah, that makes sense. He wants to stop campaigning in battleground states that he's behind in for 2 weeks with less than a month left for the election. That's a great strategy. That's a great strategy. What is it? The people who are undecided are just going to feel bad for him? Does he know he's going to kick it? Come on, give me a break. Really? That's how low you go? The licensed doctors were saying, I was watching licensed doctors saying he's much sicker than what the White House is saying. He needs more oxygen. He doesn't look well from the videos he's tweeting out. And they suggest he needs to step down. He's got to step down. The New York Times, Washington Post said they were quoting sources inside the White House that said the president is really, really not doing well. Who the hell are your sources? The New York Times, Washington Post, you have no friends in the White House. When's the last time you said anything positive about Trump? And of course, both papers did the same thing. Well, we can't disclose our sources, which basically means we could lie whenever we want and just say we have sources. But it was just complete anger. I didn't expect it. I understand where we are right now, and I get the emotions on both sides. If you're watching Fox News or CNN, I get it. But at this particular time, I mean, it was complete anger on CNN. Miserable people tearing Trump apart, his administration, how he needs to cancel the Supreme Court nomination, how he's on steroids, which is making him think crazy. An actual licensed doctor said this on CNN. I mean, when have doctors become political correspondents? I mean, that has to, I'll try not to curse, F and end. Doctors, political consultants? We want your opinion from a doctor. You could disagree with anybody you want, but doctors telling you who should stay home when they're in the danger zone at 75, 80 years old, of course they should be staying home, but should a person who's 30 years old say, no, are you crazy? Not with the statistics out there. So then what happens? On Tuesday, Trump walks out of the hospital on his own, goes back to the White House, makes a speech telling everyone, don't be afraid of COVID. Don't let it dominate your life. Great message, by the way. Hopeful, positive, strong message from the leader of the free world. That's kind of what you want to hear if you're an American, no matter who's in office, who's the president. Then he goes in the balcony of the White House, so he's outside and takes his mask off and waves. Holy shit. CNN, MSNBC, they went absolutely ballistic. This irresponsible idiot, he's ripping off his mask and making fun of it. How could he say, don't fear the coronavirus? Well, he's saying it because he's 74 years old, extremely obese. That's what CNN, MSNBC, people like. Extremely obese. Yes, he's overweight. Just insulting the hell out of him. Yet he walked out of the hospital in 5 days. And seems to be better based on the thousands of tweets he's sending Tuesday and Wednesday, which a lot of us will always agree with, we don't like. But the media went nuts. How could he say, don't fear the coronavirus? I don't know. Maybe it's because 99.5% of people who contract the virus end up living. And most of these people only experience mild symptoms. And Cam Newton, quarterback New England Patriots, just contracted it 3 days ago. He has zero symptoms. Zero symptoms. He's perfectly fine. Take most young adults and kids who only get mild symptoms, if any. Most don't get a fever. Most don't have any trouble breathing. These are the facts. These are facts. We don't need to close down America with a fatality rate of 0.5% for people who are infected with COVID. That's insane. It's insane. So it is okay if you are not in a danger zone. or have underlying conditions to contract the virus. It's okay. Incredibly strong chance you're not going to die or have extreme symptoms. Again, this is what we know now. These are facts. It's not even debatable. These are the numbers coming out of everybody. We need to protect people who are over 70 years old. We know that. Those who have underlying conditions, we know that. Whether it's obesity, respiratory problems, asthma, we know. Otherwise, this is similar to the flu based on the statistics. In fact, I would be surprised if anyone under the age of 50 with no underlying conditions will ever die from this strand of COVID again. That's a pretty big statement. That's crazy. That's my opinion. From all the research I've done over the last 7-8 months and the hundreds of medical papers, doctors I've interviewed, people in a danger zone, all my research, I really believe that. And I'm talking about just people who get COVID by itself, because over 90% of the deaths that occurred were in people with underlying conditions. Yes, COVID killed these people. It's horrible. Over 200,000 people are dead in the United States because of this. But they had underlying conditions, which contributed to it. So basically, if you had cancer and they gave you 4 months to live and you got COVID and died 2 months, you died of COVID. That's how they count these people. We're looking for transparency. We want to learn more about this disease. But what we're learning is that we know from studies that only 6% of the people died from just COVID out of, this was when it was taken at 180,000. Now it's 200,000 people that are dead in the U.S. But it's crazy. And what you saw with the president, who obviously is going to get the best care in the world, but almost anyone that goes to the hospital, they're going to get the drug from Gilead, standard protocol. If anyone goes to the hospital again for COVID, yeah, steroids, convalescent plasma, antibody cocktails, the one from Regeneron was just available for the president. I mean, I understand we're all looking at a vaccine as an end all. It's a savior. The world's going to be great. Sentiment-wise, going to be great. For the stock market's going to be great. And believe me, I'm going to tie this all back to the stock market. This is just some bullshit rant about politics. It's important. But we have made incredible advances over the past 4 months. Incredible advances to help people live when they have extreme forms of COVID. That's why the death rate has slowed from over 8% when this thing first started to under 2% or to 2%. And it's been falling every week for months. The percentage death rate has been falling every week per month of people infected, because we know how to treat these people now. We know this disease. We know who's at risk. We know the percentage of people who die, which is 0.5%. I wish it was zero. I know everyone who listens to this wishes it was zero. But at 0.5%, it's not even close enough to think about locking down the economy. Especially, we know how to treat patients who have severe symptoms now, like the president. If none of this medicine was available to the president, he would be in critical condition right now. I really believe that. But we do have the medicine. We have incredible advances. I know everyone's looking at the vaccine as the end all, but look at all the other medicine that's available for treatments. And a lot of these treatments are great for people who just get COVID and are in a danger zone, who have the chance to get severe symptoms. That's what this medicine is used for. But that's not good enough for the media. No way. Everyone needs to wear masks. Never, ever take them off. That's what Chris Cuomo said, even though he got caught not wearing a mask in public. And destroyed the guy who confronted him about it, saying, you don't know anything about this disease. Yeah, if you're going to wear masks, wear them. But don't criticize people for not wearing masks when you're not doing the same. I mean, come on. Give me a break. Give me a break about this. And I'm going to make this clear. When I look at the left, they are going to do anything to make sure Donald Trump doesn't win the election. Lie, cheat, steal. They've already done it all. I mean, I'd be embarrassed supporting these people. Just like Republicans should have been embarrassed by all the BS that was being said about Obama. He's a terrorist, not born in the U.S. There's a New York cover picture where Obama was dressed like a Muslim, Michelle Obama holding a machine gun. Are you kidding me? Or Joe Wilson called Obama, shouted out, you're a liar, when he was addressing a joint session with Congress. Really? That's not embarrassing for your party? What about when one Republican, I won't mention a name, made fun of Obama's daughters and what they were wearing? I mean, young kids, come on. Off limits, young kids. Give me a break. There's one thing I respect about Obama when Sarah Palin's daughter got pregnant, and he came out and said, if anyone says one thing on my staff, they're gone about that. That's off limits. It's off limits. We know it. That's the rules. But it's pretty crazy out there. Anyone supporting the far left? I mean, is this what it's come to? And when I see, Democrats making sure the world hates Donald Trump through things like the Russia hoax. I mean, so glad they're not letting Hillary off the hook for this. The Ukraine impeachment, telling the world that Trump is stealing mailboxes. That was an awesome one, by the way. That was fantastic. That's great. How Trump calling up the stimulus deal is his fault when there is $1.5 trillion ready to go right now to help people struggling. But Pelosi has rejected that offer for 3 months now. She went on The View and she said this, all or nothing. All or nothing. A small deal's not worth it. To a person who's worth $120 million plus, and probably be conservative on it. I'll cover that later in my educational segment with Daniel Creech. Really? You don't think sending people 15? And again, Trump said negotiations are over, and now he's saying, well, maybe we can send a $1,500 check. I'll sign it right away. Let's bail out the airlines. Back and forth, confusing people, whatever. But there's no reason now for Pelosi to not say, okay, let's send these $1,500 checks to Democrats. Let's send it to them. Let's send it to these people. Why would you say no to that? Let's see what happens over the next couple of days. We know people are struggling. We know they need this money. The loans are done. The loans are done. And some of these businesses are still closed. They need this money, these people. I mean, our politicians, it's an effing joke that they can't come to terms. It's all or nothing, really? All these multi-millionaires, some billionaires, deciding the fate of people who are struggling right now because they can't get their way? I mean, it's insane. Well, Pelosi, has rejected that offer for 3 months now. $1.5 trillion. $1.5 trillion has been on the table. Rejected it. Nope, we want $2.2 trillion. It's 1.5. I think it was 1.2, and then the Republicans moved up to 1.5. They're like, no, it's all or nothing with that woman. Like Biden says, come on, man. Do what's right. Both parties do what's right here. Anyway, if you want to beat Donald Trump, challenge him on his policies, immigration, COVID response, healthcare, the enormous amount of tweets he sends out, his personality. There's so much there. Attack him the right way, not by lying and making shit up when I'm watching these programs. I'm like, are you kidding me? He's stealing mailboxes. Oh, come on, really? Does people really believe this shit? I guess so. You notice how that's gone. It's no longer a theory. It's like a memo goes out to all these media organizations, say, okay, here's what we're focusing on right now. Okay, good. Boom, 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 boom. Let's get a whole bunch of crazy people on. Let's focus on it. But it's crazy. Attack him on his policies. Attack him the right way. Hey, we still have no idea what Biden stands for because he hasn't told anyone yet. And the 100 million plus people watched the last debate were hoping to get that out of him. And it was Trump's fault because he didn't interrupt him a million times. He didn't really allow him to speak. But anyway, that's how you win elections. Not by trying to lower the age of voters, releasing criminals from jail so they could vote, pushing for mail-in voting all of a sudden. Why is this such a big deal now? Why is this such a big deal? Why? It's COVID. People can't go and register. You're really scared to outside to stand 6 feet apart. You could debate either way, but why is there such a push and a huge fight for this? But it's crazy. I mean, in my neighborhood where I live in Northern Florida, I drove down the main street here, and there were about 50 to 75 Biden supporters, all holding up signs saying, honk if you support Biden. It was peaceful. It was cool. 3 days later, I saw the same exact thing with Trump supporters, about 75, 100 people holding signs. It's cool. It's patriotic. But to just bash all of the time, even when the president is sick, it's relentless. It's anger. It's depression. It's not American. Now, why is this relevant to you? An investment podcast, because I know some of you are going to disagree with a lot of stuff I just said. Well, here's why. It's almost 100% certain that Biden and Democrats want to keep our economy closed. Maybe it's for political reasons. So maybe if Biden wins, they'll change their tone immediately and start looking at the facts on COVID and say, okay, anyone who contracts the virus is going to be perfectly fine, most people, and yeah, it's fine, we'll open it up. But it could be political. Okay? Because everyone knows that this is Trump's biggest strength. They're telling everyone that you should be deathly afraid of COVID. Just put on the channels. Just put them on. They say it every day, not even every minute, every segment on their channels. In fact, Biden has, did you see Biden's new mask? Yeah, sure. So, but it stretches from like his eyes to his chest now. Hey, relax. We know you wear a mask. We know you, okay. Everyone needs to wear a mask. We get it. You don't have a massive mask from your eyes to almost your chest. We get it. But if I was Biden, I would do everything in my power to not debate Trump again because there's zero upside for you. I mean, last debate, there was zero expectations. Trump handed it to you by being an idiot. I covered that fairly. And he's just interrupting you almost every time you want to talk. But Trump's not going to do that this time around. I know he will. He better not. If he wants any shot of winning the election, I mean, strategists are pounding it into his head. Don't interrupt Biden. Why? Because then the world is going to hear about his policies. That means Joe has to tell everyone how he supports the Green Deal, a $50 trillion nightmare that includes zero emissions and restructuring every single building in every metropolitan area. Yet, Joe says, no. I don't support the Green Deal. That's what he said, right? But it's on his website. Even though your whole party, like you're supporting that part of your party. You're supporting them, right? That part of the left. Now you're not? Which one is it? Let's see. Biden does not support fracking, which is a big topic in Pennsylvania, battleground state. But of course, he dialed that back and says, no. There'll be no fracking on federal lands now. Sorry, no federal land. Of course you dialed it back because you saw the polls in Pennsylvania. Fracking is huge there. Creates lots of jobs. Black Lives Matter. He said, I don't support them. Well, I got to tell you, all the elected officials in your party are marching with this group. That has nothing to do with saving black people. We all know that, right? They don't care about black people getting shot in Chicago every day, black police officers getting killed in the line of duty from these mobs. They only care about power. And I'm telling you, listen up here. Democrats need to be careful. I understand that that's a part of the vote that you need. But when you're supporting radical left, including BLM, okay, again, I understand. It makes sense you need to vote. To the point where you're going to dress up in clothes and kneel in George Floyd's honor, even though you're wearing the wrong colors, and make sure the cameras are rolling so you get all those pictures taken perfectly and sent out to the crazy media. But when it comes to the left, these people don't care about anyone. They don't care about Democrats or Republicans. I mean, Jeff Bezos owns the Washington Post, which is as far left as you can get these days. Hasn't written one positive story about Trump in probably 3 years, and these people are protesting outside his house, along with workers and worker conditions or whatever. I mean, they don't care. They don't care who it is. I mean, sometimes when you see in desperate times, you turn to sources, and sometimes crazy sources. But there's a payback period for doing this. The left is going to expect something in return. If you don't follow through on the Green Deal, universal health care, freeing every student of their debt obligations, these people are going to raid your home. They're going to protest outside your kids' schools, riot, destroy businesses, hurt people. That's what we're seeing in some of these areas. In fact, even if you do all of that for them, if you give them everything they want, they're still going to protest and be pissed off. I think all of us could see that. Getting back to Biden in the next debate, if this actually happens, I probably give about 30% chance of the next debate happen by saying if Trump has a coronavirus, I'm not going to debate, or I really think it won't take place. I don't think it makes sense for Biden. But what I want to hear is why Biden chose Kamala Harris as his vice president choice, someone who told this beautiful story about a little girl, which was her. Now, Biden's policies was the reason why she was bused to school. And she also said, right in the debate stage, she believed a woman who claimed Biden assaulted them. Kamala defended this position by saying, it's a debate, which means what? You're allowed to lie during debates? Will you lie tonight's vice president debate then? Just say whatever you want? And what kind of character does Joe Biden and even Kamala Harris have? I mean, Biden for choosing Kamala's running mate after she said these things, and Kamala who Thinks Biden sexually assaulted women? Really? To accept it? It's a pretty good question. I want to know. But the most important topic that affects all of us, working Americans and our kids, Biden and the Democrats will lock down the U.S. economy again. Even though there's zero scientific evidence supporting this, they will lock down America again. You think that's crazy? Just watch these channels. Wait, every left-wing media station is pounding that idea into everyone's head. The coronavirus is deadly. It killed over 200,000 people. More people are getting infected than ever. All this is normal. People getting infected, 99.5%, you're going to be okay. Over 80% of them will only have mild symptoms. Want to close schools again? Want to close businesses again? They want to force you to stay home. And that's very scary to a lot of people. Most of the people. That's a big difference in these parties.